Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 7 of Dauphiné. Today's stage, 150 kilometers, 3 big mountain passes. Col de Madeleine, Col de Millard, and then Col de la Croix to finish out and summit today's stage 7 of Dauphiné. If you've been paying attention to the last week of racing, you know Jumbo-Visma dominated stage 1, won stage 3, dominated stage 5 after a bunch of knuckleheads pulled like crazy on stage 5. Then yesterday, the knuckleheads still kept pulling again on stage 6, and now we start stage 7. You got 6 Jumbo-Visma guys, and they've been on vacation, sitting in the Cadillac back there, having a great 3 days of rest before we go into stage 7, big mountainous stage here at Dauphiné. Now, let's go back to the last 2 stages real quick, because if you've been watching the GCN commentators, I don't want to name any names, but let's just call him Brian Smith. Well, he talks about it many times where EF Education's Carapaz, a couple stages back, he loved that Carapaz was the only one that was aggressive on that climbing stage right up to the finish, that then with about 15 kilometers to go, went into the finish downhill with Jonas Vingegaard winning solo, and he loved the tactics of Carapaz. I told you guys I hated those tactics, and Carapaz was a big-time knucklehead along with EF Education. Now, why did I say that? Well, when Carapaz was attacking, you don't want to attack the strongest guy in the world, Jonas Vingegaard, here at the Dauphiné, because he's sitting 4th best on the first page with Tadej Pogacar, Primoz Roglic, Remco Evenepoel, and Wout van Aert. You never want to attack the best climbers in the world when you're going up a steep climb. Now, can you attack when it's super steep? Of course you can. If there's attacks, the pace drops, and then you counterattack, and you hope there's some tactics being played back there. But with Richard Carapaz, on stage 5 when he attacked, remember it was pseudo quick-step pulling like crazy that whole stage there, big-time knuckleheads. Then EF Education took over at the front to try to bring it into that climb full gas and bring the breakaway guys all back. But the problem is when they went in that climb, pseudo quick-step lit it up going up that climb. Once you're going 10% climb and you see the race leader's jersey, Mikhail Bjerg crashed about 20th position back. Once it's going full gas, the only guy that's not hurting in that group is the best climber in the race, and his name is Jonas Vingegaard. So when Carapaz and his teammate Sean Quinn attack and then launch Carapaz going up the road, that's a knucklehead move because the pace is going full gas, and the only guy that's going to be feeling good on 10% or feeling decent is going to be Jonas Vingegaard. Next knucklehead move from Carapaz was pulling for a ton of time with Jonas Vingegaard sitting on his wheel getting a free ride, and then Jonas pulls a little bit, and then of course Carapaz, the knucklehead he is, comes back up and starts pulling. Now a lot of times you'll see me blame the director sportifs in the car. When we're talking about a team like DSM, I can blame the director sportif in the car, and I can certainly blame the director sportif when it's Uno X, but when it's Richard Carapaz, even if the director sportif made the call to start riding aggressive like that, he's 30 years old. He's a big-time knucklehead because he's pulling when it was already going full gas. Again, if the throttle backs off, it's all in the details. If the throttles back off and they're counterattacking Jonas Vingegaard and he's got to let something go and you get a gap, good plan, no problem, because you don't have Jonas sitting on your wheel. Full gas all the way up 10%, and then you attack, you got him sitting on your wheel and you keep pulling, you're a knucklehead. Now, let's fast forward into yesterday's stage 6 here of Dauphiné and explain what was happening there. Because every time when I'm watching the race, we got Brian Smith talking about how he loves teams to just at least put it out there. Now, I told you guys, they rested on the individual time trial, everyone but Jonas. They rested on stage 5 because pseudo quick step, followed by Richard Carapaz, the big-time knucklehead, pulling all the way up the climb, so they got a lot of rest. Now we go into yesterday's stage 6. You know X is pulling on the front, DSM's pulling on the front, and Trek Segafredo's pulling on the front. Little bit of room for Trek Segafredo, but not much. I still don't like the tactic, and I wouldn't have done it. Maybe they're not knuckleheads, but they're close. The 2 front teams, though, you know X, young team, I'm going to blame the director for being a big-time knucklehead because when you're pulling on the front and DSM's pulling on the front and Jumbo-Visma's getting a Cadillac ride, this scenario is much like you're watching an NFL football game. The team's just getting ready to score and go up by 7 points. Instead, Aaron Rodgers throws an interception, and the other team runs it all the way back for 7 points to score. And so it's not just 7 points lost, it's really 14. You should have scored, you're on the 1 yard line, you threw an interception, they went back and scored. It's a 14-point swing. When we start today's stage 7, it's a 14-point swing for every team out there because Jumbo-Visma have rested on the individual time trial stage. They rested on 5, and then they rested on 6, and now we're starting 7, and it's a short stage. They have 5 riders, and all of them are quality. Now, we go back to yesterday's stage. DSM chasing like crazy. X chasing like crazy. Jumbo getting a free ride. A lot of people say, Chris, they got to do it. You look at X, maybe they have a shot at winning this stage because Tobias Johannesson is a fast finisher, so he can win. What will happen if you can't bring the break back? You've worn your team out. You've rested Jumbo-Visma. That's a double-way swing right there. If you get to the last climb and you do bring back that group, all that's going to happen is Jonas Vingegaard is going to light you guys up and go in solo or go in with one of the better favorites like Ben O'Connor, Jai Hindley, or possibly maybe Carapaz finds some legs, but I doubt it. So most likely, there's no chance for X being able to win yesterday's stage, but they rode all day and killed their team and rested Jumbo-Visma. Now, let's go on today's stage so I can explain what's happening here on today's stage and why everybody's going to be at the limit. Cameras come on with about 50 kilometers to go. One rider up the road. That's my man, Victor Campenaerts. Now, Victor Campenaerts was putting on a show on yesterday's stage 6 too, but it didn't go anywhere because the gap was too big up there to the breakaway guys, and Zimmerman ended up winning yesterday's stage. But now he's solo. He has devastated the guys back there in the break that went over Col de Madeleine, and now he's going solo up the road. And Victor Campenaerts, at this moment, he's not trying to win the stage, guys. He just wants maximum KOM points so he can put himself into the race leader's KOM jersey at the end of today's stage. So Lotto Destiny can come out with something here when Dauphiné finishes after tomorrow's magnificent mountain stage 2 here at Dauphiné. Well, we see back there pulling, that's Nathan Van Hooijdonk back there. This is the problem about pulling Nathan Van Hooijdonk and Jumbo-Visma in yesterday's 6 and stage 5 at Dauphiné. Now Nathan Van Hooijdonk's on good form. I would assume Christophe Laporte probably did a bunch of the first 50K at flat section, then up to Col de Madeleine, and then Nathan Van Hooijdonk's taking over. Now we're getting ready to start the Col de Mollard here. We see Victor Campenaerts with a 3-minute gap up there, and Nathan Van Hooijdonk's got the peloton down to about 55, 60 riders back there, as he is the only rider riding on the front for Jumbo-Visma, but Christophe Laporte is out of the picture, so Jumbo-Visma have 5 riders with Dylan Van Baarle sitting second, Walters third, Jonas Vingegaard's in there, and Tiesj Benoot's in that front group. Neither, I would assume, have done much work in today's stage. Maybe some time spent on the front up to Col de Madeleine, but now they got a free ride because DSM, X, Soudal Quickstep, and EF Education over the last 2 stages have given Nathan Van Hooijdonk a free rest and a Cadillac ride up here to start the Col de Mollard. That means he's got some good legs left. Now he's got the group, like I said, down small, and then he starts picking off all the riders that are in the gap between the peloton and my man Victor Campenaerts, who's still solo up the road. We look at the first guys getting caught. That's Pierre Latour from Total Energy. And then look over to the right side there, the peloton, with Nathan Van Hooijdonk. He doesn't even give Pierre Latour a look. Not even like, hey, a little nod like, good job right there. He's going straight to work. This is called business. This happened all the way back in the writers' meeting in the bus when the director said, guys, we're staying 100% focused. We're all fresh. We're all ready to go. Thank you, Soudal Quickstep. Thank you, X, DSM, and Trek Segafredo, and especially Richard Carapaz, because we're got business. I don't want anybody messing around. We're going to destroy the peloton, and we're going to launch the #1 rider here at Dauphiné. That's his name, Jonas Vingegaard, on the final climb for sure. We see up front again as the next rider's getting caught. This is Anthony Perez from Cofidis. And again, Nathan Van Hooijdonk doesn't even give the Cofidis rider a nod, any kind of applause about good work or anything. He's going straight past the Cofidis rider and still setting tempo on the front. We look at the peloton. X got some riders in there, 2-3 riders at the back of the group there, but Jonas is looking pretty. Other riders that got some quality in there, UAE team members, of course, got at least 3 riders in this front group because they got Adam Yates, they got Rafael Majka, the Super Domestique, and they got Felix Großschartner. As the peloton's going further up the climb, they're going to catch the next rider because this is Tobias Bayer from Albacete de Koenig. Albacine rider. He was trying to stay away from the peloton behind, but it's only one guy back there chasing still. It's Nathan Van Hooydonk still on the front. Does he give Beyer any kind of look or nod or satisfaction of a great ride here on today's Stage 7 of Dauphiné? Nothing. He's all business still as he flies past Tobias Beyer up there. And now we got Victor Campenaerts still left up the road. Victor Campenaerts is coming up to about 21 kilometers to go. He's 1K away from the KOM summit here on Col de Millard. And you see him look over, give a smile to the cameras because the Lotto Destiny rider knows he's going to take the KOM jersey at the end of today's stage. Once the peloton looks back, we see it's Nathan Van Hooydonk still on the front, but he's just finished his work here on Stage 7 as he pulls off with 1 kilometer to go to the KOM. This is going to mean it's time for Dylan Van Baarle to go to work. Dylan Van Baarle hops on the front. He's got some form, right? He's had 2-3 days of rest here at Dauphiné. Hasn't needed to touch the front because you know Christophe Laporte and Nathan Van Hooydonk have done most of the work here at Stage 7. So Dylan Van Baarle with 1K to go to the summit here of the Col de Millard is taking over for Jumbo-Visma. We look up front as the KOM comes up proper. We see it's my man Victor Campenaerts starting to celebrate. He's got the arms going wide. He's getting the KOM jersey at the end of today's stage, crossing the line first up here on Col de Millard. He'll drop down the descent. We'll see him burning through a couple of the corners. He's not trying to stay off. He just wants to get a little bit of rest coming down this descent and not get back there in the chaos of the group. Peloton going over the top of the KOM about 15-20 seconds behind my man Victor Campenaerts. We see there's a little bit of rush. Pseudo quick steps Maury Van Savenot's trying to get his man Julian Alaphilippe to the front to start the descent, but there's really no reason for this. We see it a lot of times, but when you look at today's stage, the group's already pretty small. Julian Alaphilippe's at the front. No reason to put in big time effort going over the top of this KOM. Just keep him near the front. Maury Van Savenot does a good job to keep him near the front, a little more than I would have done. But then all of a sudden, of course, we see Dylan Van Baarle go straight back to the front to keep all the Jumbo-Visma guys in the perfect position starting the descent. Thies Benoot was a little bit mixed up back there, probably about 15 spot coming down this descent, but there's no problem because he's got teammates on the front. Once the last and final climb starts proper, we see Victor Campenaerts is getting wrapped up. Does Dylan Van Baarle give him a look over? Nothing. And we see Victor Campenaerts looking over there trying to go like, guys, with a big old smile on his face. Guys, did you see what I did? I won the KOM jersey here on Stage 7 of Dauphiné. But Dylan Van Baarle, he's going to work. It's business time. This is the last and final climb here of Stage 7 of Dauphiné. Second rider on his wheel, Attila Valter, same thing. He's not even giving a nudge looking over there at Victor Campenaerts. Victor Campenaerts looks like he's getting his feelings hurt as he starts drifting further back. There's no nods from no one. He goes to the very back where Thies Benoot's back there, and Thies Benoot's not talking to him either. Now you see him all the way at the back of the peloton. He's gonna sprint up to the front, get up there to race leader Jonas Vingegaard from Jumbo-Visma, and then finally Jonas Vingegaard is gonna look over left as my man Victor Campenaerts looks right, and they're going to have a little conversation. I'm taking a guess. I'm going to add a little flair into the race today, but I'm sure Jonas Vingegaard looked over at Victor Campenaerts and said, sorry, man, we had a meeting in the bus. The director said we're serious today. We're not smiling at all. We're going all business, and they just are not allowed to smile to you, but I'll give you a pat on the back and a little wave and let you know it's not personal up front. We're just here to dominate the Dauphiné as the Tour de France is getting ready to start soon. Well, with that, Victor Campenaerts drops back. And now we're coming into about 11 kilometers to go. Dylan Van Baarle knows this is the last section of the final climb here where he can put some hurt in the peloton. He gets to the front and starts extending power to the pedals. And you see the peloton back there single file as riders start dropping out. 1-2 kilometers later, we'll see Thies Benoot. He was sitting in about 7th, 8th position just in front of Jonas Vingegaard, the race leader's yellow jersey, his teammate. He looks back over at Jonas. Jonas gives him the nod. That means we're staying with plan 1. Thies Benoot will start to move to the front. He'll go all the way up, and he'll slot in between Dylan Van Baarle and his teammate Valters. When you see this happen and you see Thies Benoot move into second and not third position, that means Valters has some form. Let me take you back to yesterday's Stage 6 here at Dauphiné. Remember when the final climb started and I said Valters was just dropping off, not suffering at all. All their teammates were, but up that final climb, Valters' job was to drop off easy for Thies Benoot to stay at the front with Jonas Vingegaard, Valters to save his legs for today's stage. That's why you see Thies Benoot slotting into second, not third position. That means Thies Benoot's going to do the first big acceleration after Dylan Van Baarle, and Valters is going to be the main lieutenant guy for Jonas Vingegaard to try to blow this field up. Well, we see Dylan Van Barley stringing out the field. He was going to take it all the way into about 7 kilometers to go, and then he's going to pull off the front. When he pulls off the front, it's time for Tiesj Benoot to go to work. Tiesj Benoot starts the acceleration, but let me take you to the back of the peloton, because back there it's blowing up. Guys coming out. It's Mühlberger that's coming out. It's Johannesson Anders that's coming out from X. Sean Quinn from EF Education. He's paying for those efforts a couple days ago. Valentin Manois from FDJ's coming out the back. And then we see 4 guys coming out the back. It's Clément Champusson from Arkea. Davide Gaudu, FDJ. He's got no legs. Sepulveda from Lotto. He's dropping. And Mikel Landa, Bahrain Victorious, is coming out the back. We go back up to the front. Walters is on the front, blowing the group up. Basically, Tiesj Benoot did about 1 kilometer on the front. Now it's time for Walters to go. And the only problem is Jonas Vingegaard was still back there like 6th, 7th spot behind UAE Team Emirates when Walters started his acceleration. I don't like this tactic. I always sit on the wheel of my teammates, but guys got their own choices, and Jonas Vingegaard feels like he's got good legs. UAE Team Emirates open up the gap to Walters, who's trying to go full gas up there. And then you'll see Jonas Vingegaard come up from the left side as he slots up to the front. And you look at Walters looking back going, man, where's my race leader's yellow jersey? I just wasted a ton of energy. Well, Walters sees that Jonas is on his wheel, and then he does one more acceleration. And now we got 7 guys in the front of the professional peloton here at Dauphiné, as everybody behind has blown up, coming off the wheel. Now we see some action right here, because we look at Ben O'Connor. He's sitting 3rd from last there in 5th position, and he's going to open up the gap. Once he opens up the gap, look at the DSM rider back there. He was the last guy, 7th position. He's going to come around Jai Hindley and Ben O'Connor and close the gap up. Once he closes the gap up, though, he's got a problem, because UAE Team Emirates, Rafael Micah starts to blow. Micah pulls out hard right, and that opens up another gap to Max Poole from DSM. Poole is going to have to do another hard acceleration to close the gap. And once that happens, well, it's time for Jonas Vingegaard to go to work, because he starts a big acceleration, looks quickly over his shoulder, realizes it's only Adam Yates sitting on his wheel. And then we look a moment later, Adam Yates is looking back. Jonas Vingegaard is looking back at Adam Yates, and by the time Adam Yates turns around and looks forward, well, there you go. It's Jonas Vingegaard sprinting away from Adam Yates, UAE Team Emirates. But UAE Team Emirates rider Adam Yates, he's got a gap on everybody else, right? Max Poole back there, who closed those couple gaps that opened up. Now he can't close the gap. You see him moving off to the right. It's going to have to be Ben O'Connor or Jai Hindley that can close this gap up to Adam Yates and Jonas Vingegaard. But no one's going to close to Jonas Vingegaard, because he's got a 15-20 second gap already on Adam Yates. Yates sets wisely into a steady motion here, trying to save the legs and keep the other guys on the general classification from catching him, so he can move up from 4th into 2nd on the general classification. Jonas Vingegaard, well, when he looked back that last time before he started his sprint, he looked at all those guys and said, see ya in the douches, as he just kept accelerating throughout the finish of today's stage with 5.3 kilometers to go when he started his attack. Once we look at 3 kilometers to go, he's got the gap up to 30 seconds on Adam Yates, and then you look further back, it's extending more. Now, what's happening in the back of the group behind Adam Yates? Well, it's basically Ben O'Connor and Jai Hindley show back there. They slowed up. About 12 guys came back together. Bunch of Ineos riders were in that group. And then you're going to see Jai Hindley attack this group and start trying to bridge up to Adam Yates. Now, Adam Yates is still out of the saddle, in the saddle, doing everything he can to try to bring back Jonas Vingegaard, but still losing time. Back there, once Jai Hindley attacked in 3rd position, trying to bring back Adam Yates, it's Ben O'Connor. Ben O'Connor accelerates, and he's got Danny Martinez, Ineos rider, on his wheel, and then he rides him straight off the wheel, and the Ineos rider has to go back to the group with Esteban Chavez doing everything he can from EF Education to try to salvage something on today's stage. But EF Education, you guys were a knucklehead a couple stages back and gave Jumbo-Visma a free ride, and now you're paying the price for having a fresh Laporte, a fresh Dylan Van Barle, and of course a fresh Nathan Van Hooydonk starting today's stage 7, and the speed with them being fresh means it's 1-2 kilometers faster throughout the whole stage. It's not just faster with Jonas Vingegaard going up the road, it's faster throughout the whole stage. And it meant that when you're looking at the riders right now, when you're talking about Walters and Tiesj Benoot, they have that big punch to cause that acceleration to blow everyone off the wheel before Jonas Vingegaard even went at 5.3 kilometers to go. We look up front with 1 kilometer to go. We're going to the right bend there as we hit the 1K banner to go. It's Jonas Vingegaard still accelerating on the pedals. 600 meters, you see the 2 ledges. Jonas Vingegaard's up on the high. Adam Yates is down on the low, so he's not going to catch him with 600 meters to go. We go further down the hill. Jai Hindley's trying to hold off Ben O'Connor, and Ben O'Connor's trying to hold off for the rest of the chasers, being led back there by Max Pooley from DSM and a host of other riders. Now coming up to the finish, 100 meters to go. You see it's time for Jonas Vingegaard to celebrate his style of victory. Little kiss to the hand, little kiss to the mouth with both. Celebration to his family for all the hard work and sacrifice they do to let him have this kind of time to get away from the family and train this hard to be this good at Dauphiné. As he crosses today, stage 7, another victory for Jonas Vingegaard to take his 2nd here at Dauphiné and the 4th for Jumbo-Visma as they've won stage 1, 3, 5, and now 7 here at Dauphiné, and add time to the general classification when we go into tomorrow's last stage. Who comes across the line second? Well, Adam Yates, you know that because he had a gap on everybody. He'll lose about 40-45 seconds on today's stage. Cross the line in third, Jai Hindley. Bora Hansgrohe will cross 10 seconds later, and then about another 10 seconds behind him, Ben O'Connor crosses the line to hold on to a podium general classification hope here at Dauphiné as he lost second, moved to third. And then we saw, of course, Adam Yates jump from 4th to 2nd. Jai Hindley did a solid ride here for Bora Hansgrohe. When we look behind Ben O'Connor, about another 10 seconds, 15 seconds behind that is a group of about 8 or 10 coming across the line there to try to salvage some time on today's stage. That's Max Pooley from DSM, the young rider, who had a good ride. But if DSM didn't ride so hard on the stages before, maybe today could have been a little bit closer for DSM. But like I said, it's a Cadillac ride for Jumbo-Visma since the individual time trial all the way to today, where they just launched Jonas Vingegaard up for another stage victory here for Jumbo-Visma to round out 4 victories in 7 stages. And we still got one more day to go here at Dauphiné. Now, if I dissect the tactics of Jumbo-Visma, they were perfect. I told you guys what to expect on yesterday's butterfly effect, and they did exactly that. The only problem I have at all with the tactics that I watch here today, when Jonas sends Thies Benoot to go to the front with about 7 kilometers to go, Jonas should have followed up with him because he knows, or should know, that Thies Benoot has an explosive amount of energy still left in his legs because he hasn't ridden for 3 days. He knows Attila Valter saved his legs from yesterday's stage 6 final climb just for the effort here of about 500 meters, 1K at the most. So Jonas Vingegaard should have slotted up the same time with Thies Benoot, locked onto the wheel there of Valters, and got ready for the big time acceleration, because the damage would have been even bigger if had he been straight onto his teammate's wheel once Valters hit hard with under 6 kilometers to go. And at 5.3 when he was done, Jonas Vingegaard's acceleration at that point in time would have dropped everyone immediately, including Adam Yates, where no one would have been able to stay on the Jumbo-Visma's rider's wheel. Small time damage lost right there, probably only a few seconds. But if you're being picky, that's the only tactical error I saw from Jonas Vingegaard. Always stay with your teammates when they have good legs. And the number one plan, first plan of the day, was to launch you with 5.3 kilometers to go when the stage got the hardest all the way to the summit finish. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and make sure if anybody is pulling around Jumbo-Visma, you know I'm going to call him a knucklehead on the stage when it's all said and done up here on the Butterfly Effect. And if you're Brian Smith and he's just telling you, well, it was a good effort, it was a terrible effort, because it's not an option to pull a team like Jumbo-Visma around all day long in a stage, unless, of course, it's tomorrow's stage 8 of the Dauphiné, because once stage 8 comes, there is no more stage 9. So then it's Hail Mary, and you got to do whatever you got to do to try to be able to win the stage. If you got to pull Jumbo-Visma around like stage 5 and 6 here at Dauphiné, then stage 8 is the day to do it, but not before that. So Brian Smith, you're a knucklehead, and all those teams, you know you guys are knuckleheads, because in tomorrow's stage 8, we're probably going to see Jonas Vingegaard win his 3rd stage victory here at Dauphiné and the 5th for Jumbo-Visma. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys real soon.